Lately, I have been using WiThrottle to run my trains, and I've been having tons of fun. In this video, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm Roy Smith. Glad you could join me. Today I want to tell you about WiThrottle and some of its basic and advanced features. I want to tell you about it because you may want to try it out yourself. In my previous video, I showed you how I connected a WiFiTrax WFD-30 Wi-Fi interface to my NCE power cab system. And I showed you how the WFD-30 has enabled me to run my trains wirelessly using an app on my iPhone called WiThrottle. I will put a link to that previous video on the end screen of this video. I encourage you to go watch it if you haven't seen it yet. In that video, I mentioned how you can download the WiThrottle app from the Apple App Store onto your iPhone or iPad. There's a free or so-called light version of the app and a paid version costing $9.99. As you see here, I have both versions because in the past I used WiThrottle Lite to run my trains in conjunction with JMRI. Now I have the paid version as well because it gives me advanced features that are not available in the free version. Now with everything turned on, I go to the Wi-Fi connection screen on my iPhone and choose the WFD-30 network. Then I open the WiThrottle app, and just like that, I'm ready to start using WiThrottle. As you can see, the app opened on the address screen, which is where we want to start. If it opens on any other screen, you can choose the address screen from the menu at the bottom. The address screen offers us several ways to select a locomotive to run. We can select one from a list of locomotives that we've run recently, or we can type in the road number of the locomotive we want to run by using the keypad. And we can also choose a locomotive to run from our roster or consists. But I haven't used either of these yet, so for now, let's just use the keypad. On the keypad, type in a locomotive number, let's say 2975, then hit set. The red button showing the locomotive number turns green, and we're ready to go to the throttle screen to run 2975. But before going to the throttle screen, let me mention that when you're done running the locomotive that you previously selected, you can hit the release button and then select a different locomotive. And before going to the throttle screen, let me also point out the settings screen. This is the default throttle screen. On the settings screen, you can select a different layout for your throttle screen. For example, you might prefer to have the speed slider on the right side of the throttle screen. You might prefer the yard version with the slider on either the left or right side of the throttle screen. Or you might prefer the dual throttle screen. But for now, we'll stick with the default throttle screen. On the settings screen, you also can mute the clicking sound made by the slider on the throttle screen. And I'm glad you can because, to me, those clicking sounds are annoying, especially when filming a video. Okay, for purposes of this video, I'm going to select locomotive 844 on the address screen. Now let's tap the throttle screen at the bottom of the screen, and this, of course, takes us to the throttle screen. On the throttle screen, you can select Locomotive Functions up to Function 28 by scrolling up on the function buttons. For example, there's Function 0 for the headlight, Function 1 for the bell, and Function 2 for the whistle. You can select locomotive direction, that is, forward or reverse. You can increase or decrease the locomotive's speed using the slider. The handle on the slider indicates what speed step you're on. Note that you don't have to grab and move the handle itself to change the locomotive speed. Instead, you can simply touch the slider above the handle, and this will increase the locomotive speed. Or you can touch the slider below the handle, and this will decrease the locomotive's speed. There's also an emergency stop button and a flashlight on the throttle screen. Now then, I'd like to point out that the paid version of the app has some advanced features that are not available on the light version, and that's why I got it. I won't talk about these advanced features in detail in this video, but I do want to point them out to you. To go to the advanced features, tap on the Web Server button at the bottom of any screen. When you do this, the Web Setup main menu should open, and from here, you can tap on any of the headings in the menu to access the setup for that feature. You can create a locomotive roster on your app from here, and you can customize the function labels for each locomotive roster entry by going to the edit page for each locomotive. For example, you can change the label function 0 to light, function 1 to bell, function 2 to horn, and so on. You can edit the entries for your turnouts and set up routes here. Then on the throttle screen, you can throw the turnouts and activate the routes by swiping the function buttons to the right. Lastly, you can create consists in the advanced features. This allows you to link two or more locos together on the throttle screen and sends commands to each of the locomotives without having to do any kind of programming to the existing CV settings in the decoders. You can learn more about the advanced features by going to the WiThrottle manual or the WFD-30 manual. I will put links to these two manuals down below. In future videos, I hope to talk more about the advanced features that are available in the paid version of the app. Well, there you have it, WiThrottle app. The more I use it, the better I understand it, and the more fun I have with it. If you're already using it, let us know what you think of it in the comment section down below. Now let's run a train. You can learn more about the WFD-30 Wi-Fi interface, which I mentioned at the beginning, by clicking on this video over here. As always, I'm Roy Smith. Until next time, happy railroading.